Hello, good day, and welcome to today's podcast, where we'll be diving into the art of navigating office party etiquette. I am your host, EFI, and with me is Shirley. As we approach the festive season, office parties offer a unique opportunity to connect with colleagues in a setting. However, it's important that we strike the right balance between celebration and professionalism. That is key to making a positive and lasting impression. In this episode, we'll explore how to maintain grace, connections, and avoid common missteps of office gatherings. Whether you're new to the workplace events or simply looking to refine your approach, this discussion will equip you with practical insights to shine. Let's dive into it and get started. Shirley?
Oh, hi. Hi, Effie, and hello, everyone, and our lovely viewers. Indeed, there is festivities around us, and there is festivities in the air, and it is indeed the festive season. So, our relaxed dialogue about modern etiquette will be geared towards how to enjoy the festivities that could be presented by our companies for those who work, and to navigate into office parties in the most etiquette intelligent way. Of course, before I move back to you, Effie, I'd like to mention that office etiquette or parties etiquette is a very important aspect nowadays in the culture of companies. So everyone has to be prepared to enjoy them and to do the right thing. Back to
Hmm.
you. So
Rightly
what would you have? What
said,
would you say?
Shirley. And yes, right,
First advice.
Shirley. It's so important. We said office etiquette, like we said, office party etiquette, it's not just about party. It must be matched with profession. And what I would want to, in this dialogue and conversation, I would want us to talk about the importance of office party etiquette.
Mhm.
It is not just a party, it's a place to gather, it's a place to socialize in an informal way. So it's very
Absolutely.
important that while we are there to dine and to laugh and to play, we remember that we have to put up the polished side in dealing with our colleagues, our friends. Don't forget, some of our bosses may be meeting us for the first time in personally. And we also
Mhm.
want to brand ourselves meeting them. Some of our colleagues, imagine being in a building with 500 people and you have never, some of them you have interacted with, but you have not
Absolutely.
met them
Mhm.
face to face. The office party is an opportunity to meet with them. So you have to add professionalism because it's the first impression. So let's hear you talk about first impressions. What are the things that we should
Absolutely.
put into consideration?
Absolutely. We have, I mean, office parties, as you said, is a proper way for networking, meeting the people, our counterparts who are working in a similar office, but at the end of the hallway that we usually come across at the elevator and we never get a chance to talk to them. So this is a party to a way to widen our networking. Indeed, we have to be prepared to produce a first impression. First impression at the party vis a vis my boss, vis a vis my colleagues, and vis a vis the people that I will eventually meet. What do we mean by first impression? Of course, the cliche sentence of you never get a chance for a first impression
Right.
to redo the first impression is indeed correct, is indeed very correct.
Right.
Uh, First of all, to control your first impression, be prepared, which means what? For instance, if
mm,
it's a festive season like our this time of the year, there is a color decorum. Even though the party will be during working hours, do not go wearing black. No, wear the festive colors. Chances are during end of year festivities, people would wear red or green, or there are colors to respect. And also make sure, especially for girls, that the clothes are comfortable.
mm,
Meaning what? If you're wearing heels, make sure that stiletto is not very, very high. Make
mm,
sure the shoes are not too tight. Make sure the
mm,
trousers are not too tight. Now, when you're ready and comfortable and feeling good, and also most of the time they are standing up, so make sure you don't wear flat. Oh,
mm.
very flat, and add up some accessories, add up some makeup, so you feel good and you start with the first impression. Now, back to you, Effie.
Wow. Wow.
I talk about the image, and you
Yes,
continue.
but go in. I know first impressions. Very, some people, like I said, they are seeing the very first and that you nail that first impression. And first impression happens within 3 to 5 seconds. The 5 second rule. Just a flash
Absolutely.
and the impression is made. And a lot of people do not understand the need for that 5 seconds. That it just it seals
Absolutely.
the deal. And so the next us to is the invitation through
All right.
the invitation. You get a mail, say the the in the office and the mail comes to you.
Mhm.
There's what are the things you have to look at in the mail?
Mhm.
Says there's an party. The invitation.
All right. Can I? First of all, if there is a dress code, please pay attention. This is number one. Secondly, or I should start and call it first, is the RSVP. Please RSVP. People who hold parties, they need an answer
Right,
for practical reasons. So
right.
these are two main things before you go. And then get yourself prepared.
Mhm,
Mhm. And
mm. The
very good.
RSV, I think we need to tell people it says it's the French word, it's still répondez,
Répondez s'il vous
and
plaît.
it's
Yeah.
please reply. To be attending, you need to let them know. If you'll be attending,
Mm-hmm.
you need to let them know.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to look for the invitation. Like you said, invitation, a dress code will be put. No dress
Very
code, you need
important.
to reach out to the HR department to find out if there's a dress code. Now, peradventure in HR department who sent the invitation. So if they say anything goes,
Mm-hmm.
remember office party. Then the next that you have to look at in the invitation is where. Shirley, I want you to give our viewers, they are sending questions already. I want you to give our viewers of how early and how late
That
party.
is indeed a very important point, as you said. Uh, how early? Before we get to that, nowadays more and more companies refuse the plus one, and so if you would like to bring a plus one, someone from the family, please, you have to investigate and ask and inquire. So you
Mm,
don't do any faux pas, as they say. So how early? Back to your question, do not go before the party started, that's for sure. And then you'd say, it's in the office, but it's in the communal area. Indeed, but they are prepared. If it's a party, it's usually a span, they give you a span of 2 hours. They say company party is from 2 to
mm,
4. You could go at 2:15. I wouldn't advise more than that. So you enjoy it. Indeed, it's a way of networking. Just enjoy it. It's not a duty. And
Minutes rule. Are you
15,
talking about
20 minutes delay. Yeah, that's it. And then do not cross the ending time. If it's 4 o'clock to end, you have to leave at 4 o'clock. Do not linger more, even if the superiors, the administration office, or the bosses are staying on? Honestly, you have to leave on time. Respect the timing, isn't it, Effie?
okay, another thing I want you to clarify, and our listeners, how do you have to let the host know? Do you have to let someone know that you're leaving early, or you can just sleep away?
Well, this is an amazing question indeed. Many young people, they think, especially those, it's their first year at work, and they think they are not important. Everyone is important, and it's lovely to find the boss or the person who put this together, and before you leave, thank you so much. You express your gratitude for their effort. You express your gratitude for
Right.
them giving you a chance to enjoy the party, and say a nice word.
Mhm,
Never be
mhm.
afraid. There is power to words. Never be afraid to
And then,
give words.
wow, there's something I would want in this world. You see people cell phones throughout the party. They are looking at cell phone. Is this a time that we should put our cell phones away so that
Mhm.
shouldn't
Listen,
we away so we can properly interact with our colleagues and homes?
thank you
My,
for bringing this up, Effie. Thank you for bringing this subject up, because I think it's extremely useful to young corporate boys and girls. Um, Phones are to be left on silent and in the pocket, or to leave it honestly away from in front of us. Phones are replacing our social life, are replacing our words. We write more than we talk, and it's affecting our words. So in this party, just focus on networking, meeting people, and try as much as you can, unless it's a big emergency, not to answer phone, cell phone, and to make it public by raising your voice. It's all redundant and not acceptable in these cases, honestly. Just focus on,
also,
yes, go ahead.
I want to talk this our volume
Volume
and
of the
then our
voice.
ring party. We put our phones on. Sometimes we can really have coming. Should
On
the
silent, total silence.
phone
Yeah.
be on silent mode? Silent, very much.
Mhm.
Surely.
You're right.
The next thing I would really talk about is overindulgence. To keep alcohol at its barest minimum.
Mhm.
I remember a party I attended, party of a company where I was invited,
Yeah.
and it was so bad because one of the directors had overindulged, and it
Oh, my Lord. Mm.
was a pitiable sight.
Mm.
Um, it was talk about. I saw it live. I
Definitely,
would want to
it
say
affects. First, it affects his image.
yes. You want to.
Should I say-
That's the image. His image
Yeah.
was after I trained for that the party. He didn't have the credit that he once commanded
Hmm. Hmm.
because all takes you out of yourself. Important that when we go to office parties, we don't overindulge. Everybody knows his resistance point. We want to ensure that you do not overindulge. If you know you can only take one glass, then forget you'll be driving back home.
Mhm.
So let's hear your thoughts, Shirley.
Honestly, indulging in alcohol is redundant. Indulging is in food. All exaggeration is no good. So, to play safe. Now, we need to elaborate one more time on the first impression. I mean,
Right.
an employee, as soon as he or she walks into, let's take the scenario from the very beginning, walks
Mm,
into the room, and then everybody, because he or she arrived at 2:15 or 2:20, so some other people are there, and many of them, he or she does not know them, right?
mm,
So what is the first thing to do? I believe in the power. Let's, before I start explaining, I would like to say that body language or non-verbal assertiveness goes hand in hand with verbal assertiveness. Meaning what? Walk in with
mm,
confidence and think of a handshake. You have to handshake and ask a closed question. How are you today? And then follow by an open question. So the handshake is important at the very beginning. However, before I move back to you, I'd like to say, do not handshake when two people are really busy in a dialogue. No, when you exchange eye contact with people and they
Please
are
do.
ready to handshake,
Right.
just go ahead and do it. Right? Can you elaborate on the handshake, Iffy,
Now,
before we move to something else?
I want to talk about, yeah,
Aha.
good web to web transaction, web to web, not squinching, and then now,
Hmm.
like, like you said
They go together.
earlier,
Mhm.
don't you don't interrupt two people when they are
Mhm.
speaking. You stand, you observe, immediately you have an eye contact with the person you know, then
Mhm.
you move forward with a smile, the elements of a handshake, of greeting, a smile, a web to web handshake. So you, you introduce yourself again, peradventure you've not met, and then the other person introduces you. So let's hear from you. We have who is the most, tell us when you meet about the scenario,
Yeah, I love to talk about this.
boss and
The game of handshake.
the
The
guest.
game
Yes,
of handshake. First of all,
yes.
we need to protect them from doing any faux pas or any mistake. First of all, if you meet someone, you're in the middle of the party and you have a drink in your hand, a transparent drink or any kind of drink, make sure that drink is in the left hand. So your right hand is available.
Right.
Your grip is dry. Your grip is strong and dry.
Yes.
You don't need to have glass and move the glass. That's,
Yes.
I think that's ABC in
Mm,
modern etiquette.
mm,
And then we're talking about the handshake, right?
yes. Yes.
Very important that when I said a strong grip, it's not a knuckle grinder, not
Mm,
too strong. And
no.
then it is, as you said, accompanied by a lovely eye contact and a little
Mhm,
question. So that
mhm.
is definitely a good breaking of the ice. And
Wow.
it gives you the push, it gives you the confidence you need. You have to feel that you are important. People are interested to handshake with
Mhm.
you. Okay, before we move to another subject, I just would like to say, um, who is to, as you said, who is to initiate the handshake? The bosses or the most important people are the ones who initiate. Do not dash to a boss and just attack him with a handshake. No, handshake is to meet people, counterparts or colleagues through my networking. And but the boss, I would nod and smile, exchange eye contact, and if he's ready, he will initiate his handshake. That's a
Yes.
very important point.
And he, the boss, he receives the instruction or the handshake.
Yeah,
He
if he
is the
is
one who
being okay,
man.
I can answer with this scenario.
Go on.
If there is a third party or
Mm,
like someone who is closer working with the boss, and then she or he is kind enough to introduce you to him. So the introduction is done this
mm,
way. They start with the name of the boss. Mr. Boss, I'd like you to meet
mm.
our new employee, Shirley Shalaby, let's say. So the introduction has to be
Mm.
elaborate and it paves the way. Navigating at
And what's
parties,
the eye
excuse
contact?
me?
How the movement of the eyes go when this is done?
Yeah, in the same time, I handshake and I exchange eye contact, and please with a lovely smile. Lovely
Okay.
smile all over the face. Some people smile with their mouth without their eyes. So
Mm,
one has to be careful. And then
mm,
maybe eventually we can do this kind of training. Smiles all over the face.
yeah.
Mm. A sincere smile.
Wonderful. Thank you for letting our listeners know. I want to add that we need to realize that
Please do.
it's an office party. We want to mingle, and we should mingle strategically. An office party is an opportunity to connect with your colleagues from other departments. You want them to know you remember as a person. That's what you owe to the other people, the other department. They have never met you. This is their first time of meeting you. If they have spoken, they are really meeting you, and so it's to connect, strategically mingle. You have to express the gratitude. You can just say, "Oh, what a great party! Thank you for organizing this event." It's something to make everyone. Don't forget that it's so important. Like we already said before, to overindulge. And then hand over to you. I want to talk about the things you do. I don't want to
Uh-huh.
gossip during the office. It's not time to talk about what happened in the office. That happened. No, for all of us to just have
Absolutely.
fun, not to not to gossip or to vent. Talk about the drama that happened in the office, politics. You don't want to talk about religion. Those are no nos. Shirley, let's hear other don'ts that we shouldn't do during office party.
Absolutely. You have covered this very important point. Yeah, there are subjects to avoid and subjects to use.
Mm,
Also, with the you don't part, you do not monopolize one person. You do not monopolize the conversation. You make sure the conversation is inclusive. In other words, you make others participate in the conversation. You ask the opinion of a colleague who is quiet and in his corner. What do you think of that? Uttering questions is the chapter one of etiquette. Questions show
mm,
interest, and then please listen to the answer. Listen to the answer. You ask the question and you
mm.
listen to the answer and you elaborate on it, and then you navigate, you move, you mingle, you go to another group. So what do you think of that,
Yeah.
if
Thank you, Shirley. Quickly, I want to add someone before we go into our next. You find someone who is, you can walk up to that person and make that person feel comfortable. We're going to quickly talk about before we take our life question.
uh-huh
Giving. You have the apology. Check with your office. Check with the company if it's gift giving lines. Some companies will say. Some companies will say this is the amount that you can kind of gifts that you can give. So the
Mm.
gifts. Shirley, let's hear your thoughts on that.
Uh, the amount that they can give in terms of what?
The amount.
The
Some companies have a policy, or you can't give above 50. You can't give above £50 gift. If you are in such you do? What are the rules that companies have these days?
Well, I think this is a variety, it changes from one company to another. I mean, budget and stuff like that. And also because parties, they could be in-house parties, or they could be, they can take a venue and invite other companies. So like this, you went out of the context, for instance.
Mhm.
Uh, as we said before, do your duty, and prepare yourself. And as I always say to my students, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. You have to know the limitations, you have to know the rules, and there is nothing wrong with asking your colleagues and to find out everything before you start the party. Could we talk about body language, non-verbal assertiveness during the party? Because you have to remember.
Yes, we will go ahead and talk about that, and then we can take a live questions from our audience.
Okay, so we do that after the questions, or we
No,
cover? Go ahead, right?
and
Um,
then we
as we said, the non-verbal assertiveness. Make sure, always think, they're gonna take pictures of us. So how is my posture? You have to be create this nature of as if you were pulled by a string. Never, or try as much as possible, never to cross your arms or never to fidget with your fingers. How to avoid that is to always hold a glass in your hand. Always hold something in your
mm,
hand. So therefore, your other arm is free to talk and to help with the dialogue. If you are not holding a glass, which I do not recommend, it's always nice to have a glass with your hand. You put your arms
right,
on the side
mm,
or behind your back. So your body language is
right,
engaging, is open
mm,
to people. It's not closed against
right.
the group. So that part we do not want to forget to mention. So are we ready for questions?
Shirley, there's something quickly.
Yes, dear.
When we take photographs during office party, are we allowed, or any gathering, are we allowed to go to our Facebook profile or our Instagram and upload those photographs? Etiquette about
Group
photographs in
photographs.
parties, group
Companies,
photographs.
it, it it makes me laugh. Companies photographs, I always tell my students, are not school photographs. At school, when we take photographs,
Mm,
we make faces, we make funny movements with our hands. No, at companies, it's not the same, but we need to look cheerful. And then usually the department head would invite his team and he say, let's take a company photograph. I think this will take an entire session, because we will be
mm,
sidetracked in this subject. Photographs have got decorum,
mm,
and there are do's and don'ts.
mm.
Because first of all, photographs means a documented image that stays forever. So make sure you look nice.
Right.
Yeah, and you are the brand of your company. Many companies, especially banks, in order to develop the brand of the power, they take group pictures
Mm,
and they hang it at the door of the branch. So the color,
mm,
the suits, and the posture. So
mm.
yeah, indeed, a posture is important, very
Thank you
important.
very much for that. And I want to add that if photographs with a group of people, please get their permission. They may not want to be seen. I think I would want to add that. Now, that people, a lot of people read the topic. Remember, we are redefining modern etiquette,
Mhm.
one conversation at a time, taking, navigating office party etiquette. One of the questions that was asked is attendance, is it
Attendance.
mandatory? Attendance, is it mandatory?
Mhm.
Attendance,
Yeah.
is it mandatory?
Attendance to office party. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it
Is it
mandatory?
mandatory? Yes.
Yes, indeed. Never tell yourself I'm not
Must
going
I
to. No.
attend?
Of course, it shows interest in the place. This is like going to
Okay.
work. I have to attend.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying
Yeah,
that
you
point
have to
because
love it.
oh, some people just say, no, I don't have to attend, and they
Yeah,
skip.
I know. This is so sad.
Very important that every staff attends the office.
Mm.
The next question here is plus one. And please elaborate on plus one.
Um, Okay, to answer that question, I mean, especially after COVID, the companies refused plus one. I think it's for financial reasons. So, more and more, if you really want a plus one, you have to get to your boss or to someone important and take the permission because it will be called an exception. If there is a plus one, usually
Mhm.
it is mentioned on the invitation card, Mr. and Mrs., or you and your spouse, or something. And sometimes nowadays they
Mhm.
specify no plus one. So, yes, indeed.
And,
No, you cannot impose a plus one.
and the final question we have is no, it's not. There are so many. Because of time, I'll just take this last one. I bring a gift for my boss. Should I bring a
Yeah,
gift for my boss?
a gift.
Yes, for my boss.
The etiquette of gift presenting in the corporate world. Oh my God. That is a subject um, that has always been, a challenge. Gifts have to be office related. Indeed, you can. If it's his birthday, I prefer. I shouldn't say I prefer. The modern etiquette prefers that it's a collective gift. This is definitely
Right.
preferred, not
So from a team,
not one person presenting a gift. Collective.
yes,
And
from the team.
yeah, and
Because
what
if
kind of
you
gift?
present a gift to yourself,
Excuse me.
if you present a scene as to gain favor
Absolutely.
from from the team, from the
From the group, collective.
department, that's
And
yes.
the
And then the kind
the
of
kind of gift. The kind of gift is very important. You do not present anything personal,
right,
not a tie or a shirt or something he wears, not a perfume, not at all. It has to be something related to the office. I think presenting gifts, if I give ideas, a book would be lovely. A book would be lovely, a frame where he could put the picture of his family or his dog or anything, but things like that related to the office and not too personal.
mm, mm. Thank you. It's been a wonderful time talking and the dawns of office party to navigate it. It's been a dear viewers. We hope we answered your other questions. To write to etiquette conversations at Gmail and Shirley will receive questions. We'll attend to them. Interesting. It's
Yeah.
we're going to be having
Yes.
next week Friday, same talking about the etiquette and tradition. We're
Wow,
going
how
to be
lovely.
covering, yes, for those who are celebrating and those who are not celebrating. The traditions of
Of
Christmas.
course.
What is the etiquette? What should you not do? Remember, in modern etiquette, one conversation at a time, and several topics every week. Join the episode of Etiquette Shirley. Shirley, can you talk to our audience?
Lovely, lovely. Looking forward to next week already. Everybody get ready with more questions. I think today we didn't have the chance to cover all the questions. So we will, it's always nice to look forward to more. Have a
Yes.
lovely week.
Have a lovely day, everyone. Bye for now.
Bye for now.